Welcome to the channel.
Where you will get
Real life stories.
real life experiences. Welcome to
All right, guys. Welcome to today's topic. We're talking about everyone's favorite thing that's going on today, the coronavirus. We got several things we want to touch base on. Just talking about, what people are doing out there, ways that we're trying to stay safe, and, just what the world is experiencing right now. So, we're going to talk about, basically topics such as, the essential businesses, the non-essential businesses, how we're staying safe, daily activities that you probably were doing and you're probably not doing anymore, and the news most likely, and then maybe about the stimulus package and stuff like that. But let's start off as usual with Jerry. We'll start off with let's just talk about like daily activities that have changed. Like, what's some stuff for you that have changed?
Well, for one, definitely not being able to go work out. A lot of businesses that we were accustomed to going to are now closed, so which you cannot go to anymore. So that includes the gym. I'm grateful that at least the grocery stores and the pharmacies are open, which we can still go get food and stuff like that. But primarily for me, being that I work remotely and I work from home on my business, the gym is a place that I would go to all the time to kind of have my out, let my energy out there and kind of go and feel good. Yeah. And I've had to obviously make some changes, because of that reason. So for me, I would say definitely the gym is one of the places that I miss the most so far.
Yeah. Now you're in complete isolation, because you're you're not working anymore for your corporate company. So you're at home doing your entrepreneur business, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm working from home, as I shared. And you can say that I'm in complete isolation. So, the extent of me going outside right now is to go for a bike ride or, go for a walk around the park.
Yeah.
Because, what I've learned is that, I want to make sure that I don't allow myself to sit at home all day, blinds closed or whatever, because it's just making me feel more depressed, because I feel that I'm legit isolated, like I'm in prison. You can't leave or anything like that. So that's how I'm feeling. So, some of the things that I'm doing for myself is is definitely getting up at the same time every day. So just because we're in isolation doesn't mean that I'm going to get up at 9, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. I actually still set my alarm for 6 o'clock in the morning. I wake up in the morning. I try to go ahead and do my workout at home. Then I go for a walk just to be outside and get some fresh air. And then I get started in working with, for my business for most of the day. And then intermittently, I'll take breaks, go back outside, sit in my patio, listen to my book. There's things that I'm definitely doing that are helping me kind of keep distracted and not fall into this depressing hole. And I think going outside and getting some sunshine and some vitamin D is a great way to at least alleviate some of the pressure of what's going on with, the coronavirus right now.
Okay. I would say for me, it's like daily activity. So I have a 3-year-old right now, and today was a great example. I think daily activities that have changed would be just taking my son to daycare. And what happened was, I understand everyone's got they want to be safe with the coronavirus and this and that. Obviously, we don't want to get sick. You don't want your kids getting sick, so on and so on. So I take my son to daycare this morning, and there's a new system now because of the coronavirus. Basically, I have to come to the front door. A lady comes out in a full, mask, gown, headpiece with a thermometer, puts it in his ear on each ear. If his temp's good, he can come in. If it's not good, then bye-bye. That's what the new rule is. And this is the first day, actually. And what she told me right after she said, okay, he's good. She said, if he coughs one time, he's got to go home. I'm like, wow. You mean like any cough, like even if he's choking type cough? She goes, one cough, we call you to come pick him up. I'm like, now we're taking it to another point. There's no more like we're trying to be safe. It's just like we're getting a little crazy here, I'm going to say.
Yeah, right?
So they didn't call today, so luckily, I'm sure he called.
He didn't cough. Yes.
I'm sure he coughed. I mean, kids
Yeah.
cough all the time. They eat.
Yeah.
They don't. They're still growing, so they don't know. They could put like 3 chicken nuggets in their mouth and not know that's wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And start coughing from it. So that's changed. Another thing. I mean, we could talk about daily activities. Buying your groceries. This is going to be a few minute conversation, but
yeah.
I went to Target maybe 2 days ago, and I've never seen such a sad sight in my life. I mean, just a simple aisle with like the beans, like usually like beans, pasta, or whatever, rice. The whole aisle. I'm gonna say if you had 2 sides of the aisle, at least 75% of the shelves were empty.
Wow.
And it's like almost we're like in like World War III or something, where like no one can get anything. But meanwhile, everyone's just sitting home. So I listen to a song that talk about coronavirus, and they're talking, like people are going out there hoarding all this stuff, like instead of someone that would buy 3 boxes of pasta on a normal run, they're buying like 30 of them.
Yeah.
And then the next person who's sitting at home can't even eat pasta on a regular day because that other guy just bought 30, other woman, whatever. But those are 2 things that have changed for me tremendously. Anything that Jerry, before we get on to the next topic?
Yeah, I mean, I think the grocery store thing is absolute madness. I mean, I think that, for me locally, I have the option of either a Publix, which is like a Florida and I think Georgia grocery chain, and then a Walmart supermarket. So what I've noticed is that as the news are progressing, now you're seeing people at Publix and Walmart wearing gloves or even wearing masks while shopping, which is such an eerie sight that you walk into these places and people are wearing like stuff that like medical professionals would wear just to buy groceries, which is kind of scary.
Yeah.
I myself, last time that I went to Publix, wore a mask just out of caution, and I had gloves in my pocket, but the best thing that I could do in that moment is just, of course, do the social distancing, keep the 6 feet away. And one thing that's really concerning is that they're telling you that they want places to limit large crowds, but what you're noticing now is that the grocery stores have the largest crowds. I mean, when I went to Publix to just buy some basics, it was packed. The parking lot had at least 200 cars.
Yeah.
So you go into that setting and you're like, you have 2 options. Either you risk getting the coronavirus or you risk not eating because you just don't have any options. So you have to do the best that you could in the situation, make sure you're washing your hands. I'm even to the point where sometimes I'll come home and I'll take a Lysol wipe and just wipe the boxes and stuff just to be safe. But it's crazy to see that we're at that point today, that people are having to do that. And then the other piece too that you brought up, which is very annoying, is people who are hoarding supplies. I myself, if I'm going to buy eggs and there's 10 cartons, I'm not thinking I'm going to buy all 10 because I need eggs forever. Yeah. I'm only thinking, how much can I buy to get me by for at least a week or 2 and still allow enough for the next person who may be in the same situation that I am, and not put them out by buying 10 eggs that are going to last me 7 months or whatever it is, and prevent somebody else from eating. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the paranoia that people have is just a little bit out of control, in my opinion. But yeah.
So you've picked on one of this. The next topic, guys, we're going to talk about is staying safe.
Yeah.
I can say, social distancing. We'll touch a little basic because you just said something about that.
Yeah.
I don't like people are not taking it as seriously and they laugh about it. That's what I witnessed. So today I was at the post office, and the post office now has taken their own precautions and pre-measures, whatever you want to call it. And they put these little tape, like these little caution tapes about that big. They put them on the desk leading up to the counter, and they put it on the floor after the desk. And what those tapes mean is they want each person to stand at each tape. Each tape is roughly 6 feet ahead, apart from each other. People today were literally laughing at that and be like, "Are you serious?" It's like, okay, then don't take it seriously. You get the virus, don't cry that you were next to someone that had it and you got it. So, and I'm in a supermarket and people are literally like coming next to me this way, like they don't care. So it's like, I'm not saying I'm so crazy, like I'm trying to be like in a bubble. But for people that are really worried about getting this, so I mean, we're worried, you're worried, I'm worried, everyone's worried about it.
Yeah.
At least follow what you can, because if you're not to someone that goes, you have a higher chance, obviously, the closer you are to get it.
Yeah.
So, I would say social distancing is definitely one that I don't think it's taking too seriously yet.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that, you mentioned is with the cough, right? So one of the big reasons why the cough is so significant is because they're saying that the virus lives in your throat. That's where it starts. And eventually, if your body can't fight it off, the next place that it goes is your lungs, which is why people are developing pneumonia. And then they're usually dying from pneumonia. That's like the big issue. Yeah. So if you have somebody who, maybe it's not showing the symptoms because they're a younger individual, let's say that their body's doing a good job fighting it off, it's still in there. So that person could be walking around, let's say Publix, they do their cough or whatever, and they don't give a shit. And now the next person that's around it potentially gets it, who may have a compromised immune system and could go through the whole process of getting pneumonia and potentially die. So the fact that people are not taking it seriously is troubling, because it's not even so much about you anymore. It's about the people around you. You can literally have a lady with maybe diabetes, or an older person who's just literally trying to get eggs or whatever they're trying to buy, and you're just coughing because you're like, I'm young, I don't care. But now that person goes home 3, 4, 5 days later, develops symptoms, and they're in the hospital fighting for their lives because you didn't care. So I think that it's so important to limit being in large public places for now. Do everything that you can to prevent the spread, or wash your hands. If you cough, I think the proper way to cough is to do this thing now instead of the hand thing, right? Because you're just coughing it into your hands and you can touch things. Yeah. There's definitely ways to try to do the best that you can to be safe. I do understand that some people do have to go to grocery stores, pharmacies, or whatever, but do the best you can to limit those runs, and look at options that deliver food to your house, like Amazon Fresh. I think Shipt.com does that as well. Instacart, right? They bring the food to your house, and now you're dealing with the one person who handled your stuff versus 200 people at Publix. So you're minimizing your risk if you're a little bit proactive and order ahead.
And then you can wipe down the bags if you want to get crazy enough,
Yeah. So I'll give you an example. When I ordered my Amazon Fresh today, they tell you that they're going to leave your groceries in your front door. The person leaves, and then you go and get them. Now, at that point, you could do whatever you want, whether it's, like Oren said, wipe the bag, whatever precautions you want to take at that point to protect yourself from this virus until this kind of blows over. But it's much better than being in that setting at Publix, where you don't know if the cashier has it, you don't know if the person next to you has it. The big problem is that some people don't show symptoms, and they think they're fine. They walk in public and they're just literally spreading it like wildfire into the setting that they're at. So I would say for everyone, just follow the rules, limit social distancing. Your friends will be there. I know Oren's going to be there in 2 weeks if I don't see him. So the sooner we all do this, the sooner it goes away. If you go out 4 days from now and you pass it to the next person, those 14 days keep restarting over and over and over. So
yeah. And then there are, we are what I don't know what group you can say we are in. We would be the precautionary people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's another group that, when you go on social media now, which I would say is the extremist. Yeah. And what I mean by that is, I see someone on Facebook that I'm friends with take a picture of down below where their pool's at. And they're like, let's gather up, call the police on these people. They're social gathering, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, I get the thing, but what are you going to call the police every day? People are going to do it no matter what.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think it's people are starting to get a little crazy about it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's right to be a little crazy about it, but don't get to the point where you're going to start trying to get people arrested or something. You know what I
mean? Yeah. And I think the other side of it is the people that don't think it's serious enough, right? You see them on social media. Oh, this is just like the flu. It's the flu. The flu kills more people. It's like, yeah, the flu killed more people, but COVID-19 is at a much faster rate of fatalities than the flu is.
Yeah.
The flu kills, I believe, like 0.2 people that get the flu, right? And COVID-19 is at about 3%. I don't know how many 100 percentage points that is, but in other words, COVID-19 is a lot more deadly than the flu is. So it really is no joke. I can imagine, reading through the stories on Twitter or the news, people that get it, that are fighting for their lives, it's so sad, especially when things could have been prevented. I don't know. And then getting into how...
I know some people are saying it's a myth, some people are saying it's not.
Yeah.
But it seems the older generation, the older people are getting more the bad side of this virus than anything else. Either whether they're passing away, the symptoms are worse. But then I have people that tell me, "Oh, don't just think it's the old people. It could be even kids, or it could be." But then I also hear that children are so resilient to the virus. But long story short, most people that have died from it a lot of them are older. That's been factual, I guess we can say. So, people are scared. Like, I'm scared for my parents, for my grandparents, especially. They're almost 80, they're 80 years old, So it's like, if they get it, like, I can't imagine their immune system being like mine or yours or my son's, So, it's a scary thing. But the next thing on staying safe would be cleaning. Like, for me, let's just go talk about my job. Obviously, everyone tries to stay clean in their house. I mean, hopefully, you guys do what you can. If you have kids, it's hard, but you do what you can.
I want to bring up a point. One thing that really is so surprising to me is if you go down the cleaning aisle at any store right now, you cannot buy anything whatsoever, which makes you wonder, what were people doing before this was blowing over? Because they had an overabundance of supply of cleaning products before this happened. So maybe people were not cleaning as much. I don't know.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But cleaning, so at my job, we went from having a lady once. It's either once every week or once every 2 weeks. I don't remember her schedule, to now 3 times a week.
Wow.
So that's the precaution we took. And she'll come, she'll wipe down all the desks, all the keyboards and everything. You know what I mean? So, that's one step in this, coronavirus that we've taken on staying clean. And then there's the obvious, washing your hands. So in this whole cleaning process, there's a few things. I think there's some misconceptions and there's some things people are not doing. First thing I would say we can talk about, Jerry, is probably face masks. People wearing face masks for the wrong thing here. A lot of people have the misconception that you wear a face mask, you're not getting anything coming in. And obviously, I know if you had the coronavirus, you wear a face mask to keep it in.
Pretty much.
If you wear the mask, it's not blocking, that is still coming in. Air has to come into your area so you can breathe, so it doesn't go out. You know what I mean? So everything you talk will stay in the mask. Everything coming in needs to go into your nostrils or whatever, so you can actually breathe. You know what I mean? So I think, I see people all in the stores wearing masks. I'm just, I don't know. Now people are like, do I stay away from those people? Or are they protecting themselves and not knowing? Like, that's the funny thing.
You don't know if they're sick or not. Yeah,
you don't know what's the problem because people don't know what to do.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think the mask may be somewhat helpful to an extent, right? You're still blocking an area of your face. So I'm sure there's some type of percentage that you increase of not getting it or something, but whatever. But I know that from what experts are saying is that the main thing is washing your hands, because it seems to live on surfaces for, I don't know if it's 4 hours or 3 days. I don't know what the exact theory is behind the research, but or from what they have shared, but it tends to live on surfaces for a long time. So if you're a person that, let's say I'm here coughing at my desk, it could potentially be sitting on my mouse, and I'm kind of rolling through my mouse, and let's say somebody comes to use my computer, they start typing and using my mouse, and then they do this thing with their hands in their face, and all of a sudden now they potentially have the virus or not.
Yeah.
So it seems like washing the hands is like the big priority for everybody. And then of course the social distancing, because if somebody has it and you're breathing it out or whatever, it's not readily available in your area to ingest it in your body and latch it on. But I also want to get into like some of the things that people are saying about taking supplements and stuff like that to fight it off that are ridiculous, but we'll leave that for another for later on.
So you said washing your hands. So I mean, the recommended from the CDC, I believe, is 20 seconds, and it's not just like this. You know what I mean? It's more like you get in, you do stops. A lot of people they put their hands in the water, boom, boom, and they're done. So you do what you can, but obviously something is better than nothing. Let's start with that. But 20 seconds is recommended that can fight off the most you can. There's a misconception on hand sanitizer, right? Hand sanitizer does not kill the virus; it kills the bacteria on your hands.
Yeah. So what they're saying is that actually with hand sanitizer, it has to have a minimum of a alcohol percentage, because they're all alcohol based, in order to meet the minimum standard of being able to kill the virus on contact. I think what the CDC said, it has to be a minimum of 60% alcohol in order for it to do the job. I think, what is that one right there? Was a Purell?
I have 70%.
Yeah, so that's more than fine to kill the virus.
Aloe. So this one can go on the black market for like probably $100 with the aloe.
You could actually try to sell that, put it on eBay. It's not good for. Can just imagine. But yeah, the alcohol minimum of 60%. I think what you buy now, 70 an average.
Yeah.
Same thing. Something is better than nothing, like you said. If you don't have the option of water and soap, go for the hand sanitizer. Yeah. To reduce the risk of getting it. So
let me tell you something real quick. That's fun. I mean, I never thought about this. So you think if you use this, you put in you go like this, right? You pump it, you get it, put it in your hand. You do your thing, right? People that I either work with or whatever have this thing like get a paper towel and pump it with the paper towel, and like I don't know, like, is that I haven't talked to you about this, but like, okay, so maybe they're right. I don't know, and I want to get your take. If the virus from this person behind me, let's say, touches this, then this. Where we just said the sanitizer is really not meant to kill it doesn't kill the virus, but it kills all the bacteria. So essentially, do you think actually because the last person that touched it that you can get it? What do you think? What are your take on that?
Well, I mean, I think that if you do a good job at using the sanitizer properly, right? So if I touch it and I have it here, and then I have sanitizer here, and I do this, in theory, the virus should be dead. So even though it says that it does not kill viruses or bacteria. Yeah. Or just bacteria, what the CDC is saying is that a certain percentage of alcohol has been shown on labs that it can kill actually the coronavirus.
Oh, okay.
So that's why they say that hand sanitizer is also a really good option to protecting yourself from it, because anything over 60% in the lab was shown that it was actually killing the virus. So that's what they're trying to say with that. Even though the bottle says, I think it's only for bacteria or something like that.
Yeah.
But that theory, I mean, I guess if you pump it and you get the coronavirus and you wipe your hands, in theory, it should kill the virus, if that's what they're saying. Yeah. But if they want to take that extra step, then okay. It's like going to Publix and opening one of their freezer doors and with a paper towel versus your hand, right? You're reducing the risk of transfer at that point.
Yeah.
But what I find funny is that you see the people at like Publix using gloves, doing all this stuff. They grab the product, put it in their cart. And if they're not wiping those products at home, they are still transferring all the stuff they have in their glove onto the product.
Yeah. Supposedly has some sort of life on a box.
Yeah.
I don't know how long, but
apparently it's very short.
It was very short.
With that. So.
I think it's less than 24 hours from what I've been seeing. Okay, well, that's on staying safe, guys. So the next thing, I don't know how much we'll talk about this, but the news. I mean, I do not watch the news at all. I have enough people telling me what's going on with the coronavirus. They watch the news for me. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
All I can say is the news is known to spin information. That is their job. Their job is to make you go, whoa, look at this. That's what they do. So, yes, they do. They say factual information, but, to say that, if something is nice, they'll make some big presentation to show you how great it is instead of that. You know what I mean? So they go through this whole process. But, Jerry, I never watched the news from the beginning of this whole thing. I know you watched a little bit. Maybe what is some craziness like you saw? I mean, it probably drove you crazy at one point.
It did. So one of the things that was driving me nuts is when this thing started blowing over, one of the mistakes I made was watching the news all the time, right? I would wake up watching the news. I would watch the news when I was having lunch, and I would go to bed watching the news. And all that did for me was make me very depressed. It gave me a lot of anxiety and just made me feel very, very uneasy about the whole situation. So one thing that I decided, and it was destroying my productivity. I'm literally working on my business and I'm thinking about, man, those people in Italy. I mean, of course, I feel horrible about that, but all I'm thinking about is what's happening. So I'm not getting my work done. And it's all I could think about. So one thing that I did for myself is I made a rule with myself to turn off all the notifications from the news apps that I have on my phone and only look at the news one time a day. And that is at the end of the day. Just a quick summary of how the day went, what's happening with the coronavirus, that they had the vaccine, no vaccine, whatever. And And I also made sure not to look at it in the morning. If you wake up in the morning and the very first thing that you see is absolute negativity, that's how your day is going to flow.
Yeah.
Trust me on this. That's huge. If I open my phone right after I wake up and all I see is 1,000 people just died last night, I can tell you that I'm not going to have the best day ever.
Yeah.
So I limit the negativity first thing in the morning to 0.
Yeah.
And I try to focus more on what am I going to do to be as productive as I can be. And as I shared, for me, it was getting up at the same time still, even though I'm quarantined,
Yeah.
working out, going outside, still pretending that I'm working a full-time job, because that's the best way for me to still remain productive.
Yeah, I just had this thought process when you started talking about it with the news. It's like literally this: you wake up, you look at the TV, you turn on, like, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
You eat lunch,
Bed.
put the news on, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
And then you're like, let me check my phone, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
Go to sleep, I'm gonna die. Like doing that every day is just gotta drive people, crazy.
Well, and I know you also watch motivational videos like I do as well.
Yeah.
My TV, I have a smart TV that has the YouTube app. So first thing in the morning, as I'm making coffee or whatever I'm doing, I just kind of load one of those motivational videos. It could be a little cliche, but all I'm hearing is positive thoughts, and it starts to get me pumped up a little bit.
Yeah.
That has helped me quite a bit. And then, of course, exercising, doing yoga, meditating. That stuff still happens on a daily basis, but we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah. And you just do things to get this off your mind,
Absolutely.
That's really I guess that's the key here,
Yeah.
You can literally drive yourself stir crazy at the end of the day, and literally nothing will be done. Whether it's for yourself or whether it's for the virus, everything you can think or say is not going to go change outside. So,
one of the things I want to point out something else is where society is going today, and at least for the time being, is this virtual world, right? We're sitting here in our homes talking to you guys, right? We're doing this obviously, because we're quarantined, number one, and number two, we want to engage with you guys. But one thing that I'm doing as well is, Oren is my best friend, so I try to do this, face to face, virtually with him as much as I could. And one thing that we did today that was a little different is we decided to work out together, literally on webcam. It's like, hey, do you want to do like a P90X video, some yoga at the house?
Yeah.
And I turned on my laptop, he could see me, I could see him, and we worked out together virtually. But it actually helped me, by actually talking to somebody, seeing somebody else that's going through the same thing I'm going to.
Yeah.
So for you guys, you could do the same thing. Do you have friends that, hey, tell them, let's do a workout together over a YouTube video or whatever?
It builds that like camaraderie, like when you're together working out with a friend or whatever, that you need that motivation.
Yeah. And the last thing I wanted to do was do yoga at the end of the day, but Oren was up for it. I'm like, let's do it, and we both feel really good now.
First time yoga at 4 minutes, I passed out.
Yeah, that's all right. But hey, we did it, man, and it made it fun and different. So that's something you can do as well.
So like I said, the news, guys, I would just stay away from it at the moment. You got to know what's going on, but trust me, if you don't watch it, someone's gonna tell you. I can tell you that.
Yeah, that's the best part.
There are some people out there that literally will watch all day, like literally all day. So, but let's get into something a little more interesting. Now, Jerry, you're an entrepreneur at home. I'm working in a building, basically outside, my house. So, essential businesses versus non-essential businesses. This has been a big one. A lot of companies a lot of people should be thankful to have a job right at this point if they still have a job. There's several gyms out there that are not essential. And all I've heard is gym A, B, and C that are big time gyms laid people off, 10, 20, 30 people. They don't have the payroll or whatever the case is. And that's sad. Obviously when they come back to business, they're going to hire a bunch of people, but what are those 20, 30 people? They're home in quarantine and no money's coming in.
Yeah.
So, I think there's a lot of questionnaires about like what is essential, what's not essential. We talked about the supermarkets being essential. Mm-hmm. So obviously that's essential, but you have to be safe going to a supermarket.
Yeah.
Or at this point, you could use, as Jerry said, Amazon Fresh, Instacart, all those different. There's a ton of those apps today. But essential business is basically something everyone uses on a daily basis that is needed, such as a laundromat. As you guys heard from me before, I work for a laundromat service / repair / parts equipment company. So there's a list in your counties or your cities that they have released that would say list of essential businesses is blah, 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 and then non-essentials, blah, blah, blah. And we are urging, I know I got this notice in my county. I'm sure a lot of people are getting the same type of notice from their counties. We are urging non-essential businesses to close down, mandatory, blah, 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 if you're non-essential. So, someone like us, we're essential because without us, a laundromat can't get their stuff, to provide to the people. And it's got as interesting as this, Jerry. I don't know if I told you this, but there are curfews now. I don't know. And by you, do you have a curfew in your county?
We do. We actually have a curfew that starts tomorrow at 11 p.m. It's a stay-at-home order. And on top of that, the curfew runs from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. Nobody could be on the roads unless you're an essential worker.
That sounds like, I think that's going to be the generalized time, because here's the same thing. Yeah. Now, not every city has their own curfew. Some don't. Like my city doesn't have a curfew, but the city right next to me does, 11 to 5, same thing. Now, this is what was interesting to me is now the police are policing this time period, and if they see you, I'm going to say you, Jerry, if they see you out and about at 12 o'clock at night, they're going to say, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. Okay. But now if you work for Target, let's say, you're working for an essential business selling food and toilet paper or whatever, what Target is doing and what I'm talking about essential businesses that what they're doing is they are providing notices. So they would say, the notice would say, if you work for Target, saying to whoever may concern, Jay Rodriguez is an employee of Target, and he works the late shift from 11 to 7 in the morning. Please allow him to travel during this period, and he works for an essential business. And without that, I don't know what the police are doing. If they're saying, hey, you're going to get a ticket or you got to go, I don't know what they're doing, but that is sort of an exemption to go to work. That's an essential business.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that, especially those people, man, I'm beyond grateful that they're, still going to work and given the opportunity to do that and to help us out, right? Yeah. You look at the healthcare people, I mean, what they're going through, and it's truly amazing that, we have people like that do that for a living and can pretty much hold the virus to an extent so that we can have a normal life. Imagine if hospitals didn't have doctors and nurses that are doing this, and they also have families and stuff, and they're still going into work and literally being in the front line of all the people coming in that are sick potentially with the virus. So a lot of props to you guys, much respect. Yeah. But in regards to, the essential and non-essential, businesses, I guess beyond what you do with the laundry stuff, I think, of course, grocery stores, pharmacies are still going to be open. I believe restaurants are also allowed to be open, as long as it's only for takeout purposes only, just to kind of keep things moving. Yep. But I don't know how many people are still going to be okay with eating food out. You don't know if the person handling your food is sick or not. The good thing is that the CDC did release something that they're saying that it doesn't seem like the coronavirus lives on food. So if somebody's handling your food and they do have it, whatever, it doesn't seem to transfer over from landing on food and over. It could be because it's the temperature that it's cooked at. Yeah. What they're recommending is that if you, let's say, go to Chipotle and you get a bowl, is to transfer the food from a bowl to one of your home plates that's clean and throw away the bowl, just in case the person was touching the outside of the bowl or whatever. But there's like little tips and tricks that you can do until this kind of blows over. But yeah, I mean, I can tell you that for me, what I've experienced with the essential and non-essential businesses and how I've been affected working remotely, as I shared on my first video, I am working on a product that we're developing that's called IntelliPan, and my engineers are based in Canada, and they recently received a stay-at-home order as well. Yeah. And given that they're not in the office where they have all their machines to do the work to develop the product, it's delaying our project. So that's kind of how I'm being affected. But what I've realized is staying productive is the most important thing that I can do. So I can't control the guys in Canada and what they're doing, but I can control other aspects of my business that I'm working on now, to take advantage of this time. Take advantage as in I have more available time, not take advantage of somebody being sick or something like that. So staying busy has really helped me out tremendously with kind of like my sanity, because I've had a lot of ups and downs just like everybody else with what's going on. So
gotcha. But I think the last topic, guys, we're going to talk about, and this just came out today. I don't think anything is set in stone, but I think it's going to be is that stimulus package, right? I mean, there's only some brief topics right now, or brief facts about it, and they're saying anybody that's a taxpayer is going to get $1,200 sent to them. As far as I'm reading, you don't have to amend your taxes and all that stuff. They're just going to send you a check. And I think there's a cap or half. This is the wishy-washy part for me right now. I haven't really seen a lot yet, but if you make over $75,000, you're either getting half of that or you're getting nothing, something to that effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And,
that's kind of what I read as well. Sorry, go ahead and keep your thoughts.
And then I think you get $500 per child. I don't even know if that gets affected if you do make over the $75,000 or whatever as well. So
yeah, they're saying I think $1,200 for single people that filed single. They're basing it off of the taxes for 2019 as far as your income goes if you've already filed. If you're married, you get I think $2,600 and then an extra $500 for each child that you have as a dependent. And then they're doing some incentives for small businesses. I didn't really read through that part well, so I don't understand what they're doing. So I know that for Oren's business and my business, I'm sure we can get some incentives. We just have to figure out what that is. But I think the caveat to this is, while this is great, what they're saying is that they don't expect people to get this money until the May timeframe, which, if you're somebody who's in the transportation business, hotels or whatever, where you're deeply affected with what's going on, pretty sure you need your money like right now, not 3 months from now, because you have bills. So I don't know how this is going to play out. It's a matter of time, and we'll see what happens.
I think a lot of things to talk about that is like a lot of the loan companies, banks and all that, they're actually allowing this payment to be skipped or something to that nature, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know some landlords are, if they're nice enough, they're doing the same thing, possibly. That's usually private. So, but a lot of things are changing. I see the economy going downhill, let's say, when this thing is done. I mean, if they have to spend $1 trillion on a stimulus package, I mean, the money is just going down, meaning the economy is going down. And I'm sure a lot of people pulled stocks out already. I know you're continually buying stocks all the time, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely buying. I mean, the stock market went up like 1,200 points today. So
yeah, but it's going up like 1,200, going down 1,200. I mean, that's the going rate right now.
But here's the other thing to that, is that the stimulus package, I believe there's parts of it that are helping the stock market kind of get back on track, because that's kind of what controls the part of the economy in the United States. So I think that's why you saw a huge influx of companies going up today, is because the government is feeding money to kind of keep things rolling.
Yeah.
So the stock market is a very risky place to play with your money. But if you know what you're doing, you can get something back. I know that a lot of the stuff that I bought a week ago already went up 30%. So yeah, that's great, but that's great if I sell it right now, and I'm not.
Yeah, you need to hold on to that and see in 6 months where you're at. That's when you'll know like if you're good or not.
Yeah, and the thing is that if you look historically, the stock market always rebounds from these situations, right? But it's just a matter of time. If you're somebody who needs your money right now, then it's not a good idea to invest right now. But if you're like, hey, I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity that everything is on the ground, buy a lot of stuff, and then hold for a year or two, you will be rewarded. I can tell you that I believe that's how Donald Trump made a lot of his money, but he did it with real estate in New York. Is during one of the crashes, New York real estate was at its lowest point it had ever been, and he bought a bunch of properties, held on for 5 to 10 years. And how much is New York real estate today? Trump Tower in Manhattan or wherever it's at, that he bought 20, 30 years ago is worth probably in the billions, or a billion or two or something. So it's opportunity and kind of knowing a little bit of what you're doing, and hope you can make a little buck on the side. Doesn't hurt.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that covers all our topics. I want to start ending these videos, guys, with a simple, successful message from myself. If Jerry has one to say it, he can say it as well. But to end this video, guys, from me, I would say, our daily activities have changed. And, we don't get this time often to do this. And what no one's really liking is quarantine and isolation from the outside world. But if you have a family, take this time to be with your family, spend some quality time that you don't really get. We all have our busy lives every day. And it's something that you don't really get. It's great for people who can work at home and be with their child or, their wife, or child and wife, child, whatever, children. But also, just stay safe out there. It's definitely gets crazy with what's going on. I would continually just, monitor the CDC. Don't get crazy with the news. Just, look at the CDC website. Mm-hmm. That's what I would do. And for the people that are working out there, obviously they got to be out there. Like myself, I got to go out. The social distancing is just to help, obviously people want to be next to each other. People like people, that's what it is. But, just to be safe until this blows over, which I'm sure it will. Things like this happen all the time. The swine flu happened, the SARS, whatever. I mean, there's plenty of these in the past that happened. And my last thing I want to say is, when it comes to supermarkets and getting things that you need, think in this time as paying it forward. Yeah, I can go out there, like Jerry said, I can buy 7 things eggs and be good for 7 months, no matter how hard this virus hits, and never need eggs. But imagine if I took the 7 eggs there, and the last one with the 7th one I could have left, and a family of, 4 people with 2 kids, needed breakfast or whatever. I basically took that away from them. So, think of it as paying it forward. Don't try to hoard during this time. It's not, at the end of the day, I hate to say it, but like karma will come back to you, because you basically feed, food from a baby sometimes. You don't know who you took it from. It's someone that really doesn't have anything, because they can't go anywhere to get anything. So, that's how I'm going to want to end this video for you guys. Jerry, you got anything to say?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, some of the things I want to leave with is definitely try to remain productive, guys. If you let this consume your energy, you're going to be depressed. You're going to be anxious all the time. And trust me, it's just not a good spot to be. Try to be active. Just because you don't have a gym doesn't mean that you can't work out. You can walk, you can run outside, just keep social distancing. Do at-home workouts, right? I mean, I did the workout with Oren today through FaceTime, and we had a good time. We were laughing, we were having fun, doing yoga, whatever. But it definitely helped us keep our minds distracted with, what's going on. Remain safe. Definitely wash your hands, and just, be conscious of your surroundings, what you're touching. And if you feel any type of sickness, a little fever, a little achiness, definitely try to avoid being outside and take the precautions that you need to take. For the people that are working out there, thank you very much for doing what you're doing. Oren, for you still, going to work. Medical people, groceries, restaurants, still trying to keep kind of us a little bit sane with what's going on, and risking your lives, for us. I'm trying to think what else. And yeah, I think that's really where I'll leave it, guys. Try to be safe, and this video is now 43 minutes. Thank you for 43 minutes of your time. We greatly appreciate it. So thank you for that. So
yeah. So guys, thank you again. We appreciate all the subscribers that we got so far. I know we're a growing channel, so it's going to be a slow process, but we're doing this just to feel good, and hopefully we can share some light with some good light with some people that and can use the information. So always remember to subscribe on the bottom right there. Hit that like button. We do appreciate that. Comment down below. This is definitely a controversial topic. We love to answer back and just chit chat about what's going on, what some people have done, and let us know some successful tips that you got. Would love to read them. Maybe even make a little post on the Instagram account. But other than that, guys, stay tuned for some more content.
Cool. Bye, guys.